I'm Alex and I look after mobile here at Unflow. Today, what we're going to do is look at a super common use case of you shipped a new feature and you want to get some feedback from it. We're going to do all of this just using the Unflow dashboard. Now, in order to show how this works, what I'm going to do is use our Unflow Mirror app that you can use too in order to preview your content. So even if Unflow isn't integrated into your app yet, once you've signed up, all you have to do is scan this QR code and you'll see all your content here. So for example, I have a story that I set up. It's just a simple one with some mock content, but I can preview that in the demo app and I don't have to install it in mine just yet, which is great. And there's some more powerful features in Mirror 2 that we're going to make some use of today. So one of the best ones is that you can send events. Now, one of the really cool parts about Unflow is you can do things based on events. So you can show a screen after a user has been to a different screen of the app or show it after they've made a purchase or something. That's exactly what we're going to do today. So I've got some events here for opened home, opened audio page, and opened audio spaces. And the idea today is I'm going to look at someone who's opened the home page, then they've opened the audio page, then they've opened an audio space, and then they've gone back to home. So that suggests that they've opened the app, they've done some stuff, and they've come back. And audio spaces is my brand new feature, and I want to gather some feedback on it. For a bit more information on how you can push people to use your new features, there is a previous little mini video where we've walked through how you can create a CTA to make people use new features. Now today, all I'm going to do is use these three, and to make sure these show up in my dashboard, I'm going to want to make sure these have been sent at least once from a client. So opened home, opened audio page, and then open spaces. So you can see that these have been sent, and that means the dashboard knows about them. We only need to do this once just to make sure that they're there. In your real app, of course, these will start to populate over time as people use your app. So what we're going to do is spend most of our time in the dashboard. So let's head over there and go straight to create content. Now, a survey is a really common thing that people do in Unflow. So we've created a small template for you here, which creates a bottom sheet with a question in it. We're going to customize this a little bit, but we won't have to do too much work to get this ready to go. Let's ignore the delivery tab for now and go straight to content. In content, you can see we've got 3 pages, and the first one is just a title and a question. Now, this is just about all we need. All I'm going to do is add the copy I need and then send this live. So I'm going to set my question to be, what did you think? Now, in this case, I want to add a little bit more context. So I'm going to add a second paragraph. I'm going to say, we saw you use spaces and we'd love your thoughts. I'm also going to make it dark just because I think dark mode is a little bit prettier. And I'm going to give some options. So I'm going to say, I loved it. I hated it. It was okay. And then, of course, I can add more options if I want, but I think 3 is fine because what I'm also going to allow is the other option. I'm going to disable multiple selections. And this other option lets people enter their own values. So I thought something else. This will give them a text field where they can enter whatever you want. Obviously, this can be super useful if you want to make sure that you get that detailed feedback from users who might have a bit more to say. I'm going to enable the next button because I just want to make it really obvious to users, you can skip next. There's a lot of different thoughts on how you can disable this and disable the close buttons and so on. But I just want a really simple, quick survey where users don't feel like they have to answer it, but sort of gently encourage them to do so. So I have my options. I think it looks real good. I'm going to delete the second page because I don't want to ask a follow-up question. I just want the first page. I just want to ask them the basic bits. And now on this final page, it's just a thank you. Now you could customize this more. You might want to do things like add an image here. It's super cool to add a little image of some fireworks or something. We've done that quite a few times. But for now, I'm just going to leave it as a basic thank you with the done button. I think that's fine. Now, I could set this live and users would see this straight away in their app. However, I want to make sure that only people I want to see it. So in this case, I'm going to go to delivery. I'm going to set it up so that people only see it who've opened audio spaces and then gone back to the homepage. So the way we do that is super simple. First, we separate it so that we only show this to people who've created an audio space. So we go to opened audio spaces and we say that it's happened more than one time. Now you can have more events than this if you want, so you could go even further. You could say not only have they opened spaces, but they've also made one. And you also have more events. You might have more events, more metadata to filter on, but we're just going to keep it simple and go for opened audio spaces more than one time. Now this won't trigger things on its own. We're going to set it so that we send this to the user after a certain event. So remember what we want to do is make sure they're back on the home page. So we're going to add event. We're going to go to home. And we're saying we only want to do this when they've opened home. Now, if you have fancier events, like you just had one event called page opened and you had metadata, you could filter on metadata here too, but we don't need to do that. We just have opened home. Now, that's actually all we need. And this will be live when we hit the button here. So we hit set live, and then I simulate I've opened audio spaces, and I've opened home, and we get my survey. Now, we can get asked, what do I think? I loved it, I hated it, it was okay, or I thought something else. I'm going to say, I thought something else. I'm going to say, it was cool. Then I get my thank you, I hit done, and we're back on my homepage. And that's exactly all we need to do. We could do that for all the features in our app if we wanted to. We can keep repeating that pattern. And I think it's a really simple way to get feedback from your users. This will only show one time, so they won't be pestered by it. We can also see our results if we want to in here. We can see who's opened it, who's dismissed it. So we can see that we've got one person who's fully engaged, which of course is me. And then we hit survey, and we can see the things that were entered. Now, we could go a little bit further with this. We could do a split test. So I could pause the screen and split test it. So what happens if I don't have a second page and more people look at it? What happens if I rephrase my question and so on? But I'll leave it up to you. You have the tools you need to ship these things, and now you can go off and do it. If you have any more questions, please reach out to us or visit unflow.com to learn a little bit more. Thank you.